The 117th Boston Marathon, one of the world's great sporting events.
Quite a few casualties coming back. One guy with legs gone at the knees, ankles and feet missing, track wounds on people on the sides of the heads.
We were very scared, I would say, because no one knew where these guys were. They had literally fled authorities in the heels of a shootout in Watertown. My friends, actually, his parents, it occurred like in front of their house.
It was very uncertain. That's the best word to describe the mood. It was very uncertain.
So my friend and I were probably about a 2-minute drive down the road. We were already on our way to heading down there. We had been running late fortuitously.
I knew I had friends down there racing. I wasn't tracking it that day. I was actually teaching school.
I was in middle school. None of the students really knew.
My phone started getting texts, and someone said, "Are you watching the marathon?" I said, "No," and they said, "Something weird is happening."
You know, that was the first time I really had ever experienced any terrorism or like violence so close to home. But I remember sitting with my mom and just seeing all this. I didn't know if it was real. I didn't think it was in America.
You know, the sad or ironic thing about all this is these were just broken people who were warped by ideology, and these were no masterminds. These were just a couple of idiots who didn't even know what the heck they were doing. But you realize, too, in this interconnected world, just how much chaos that a bunch of idiots can actually bring about.
I took up racing as an adult. So I didn't grow up with any aspirations to run a marathon. I was in my mid-30s and took it up as something to do with my friends.
Boston Strong is so much more than just the Boston Marathon bombing.
I was sort of in this community of athletes here in New Hampshire that raced locally in Concord and throughout the state in anything from a 5K to a half marathon, and I did some triathlons. That was kind of my focus.
And with the marathon bombing, that saying just came out. That feeling and that sense of community and strength was already there, but we just coined the phrase. We just put a label on it.
I didn't realize, I guess, how great I felt that sense of community until it was infringed upon in Boston on that day.
Even though we couldn't be physically united as a city, you know, people were emotionally bound together for sure. That whole Boston Strong thing, and I think that came from one person who happened to tweet it, and then it took off.
And, you know, since like Paris Strong, Orlando Strong, Las Vegas Strong, that all came after Boston. And tragically enough, I feel like if this event had happened anywhere else, that term would not have been coined, because I think Boston's one of the strongest cities.
It inspired me to actually want to race the Boston Marathon, and it had never been a goal of mine. And honestly, I didn't consider myself much of a marathoner. I had done one, and that was enough for me. But in 2013, when that was all happening, I kind of made a promise to myself that I was determined to try to qualify and race the Boston Marathon, to challenge myself in the face of that adversity for those who had been there.
The people of Boston have an edge to them. I love the city. I remember going away one summer to D.C. to do some political work. I came back, I got off of Logan, and this gentleman just sort of pushed me, and he told me to go beep myself. And I sort of laughed, and I said, I guess I'm home. There's a real swagger, to say it nicely, that the people of Boston have.
They're going to beat you up if you do something bad, but if you ever needed help, they'd be the first one there to pick you up.
And I think, that guy in a nutshell kind of said to me what I think the whole city said to the terrorists.
There was a Red Sox game. That's our New England team.
The crowning moment, the moment of healing definitely was
Big Papi came out.
David Ortiz, Big Papi.
This jersey that we wear today, it doesn't say Red Sox. It say Boston. This is our fucking city. And nobody gonna dictate our freedom.
He said it for all of us. I watched it and I was like, yeah, like he got it. Like that's how we all felt.
Terrorism is meant to make people afraid to do these things. And the people who overcame, people who lost a lower limb and got a prosthetic and then went back to run the thing again, race again. It's just this persistent, never backing down.
That moment, it wasn't necessarily closure, but we felt strong.
The impact of being in the Boston Marathon did not hit me until I'm at the starting line and they sing the national anthem and the gun goes off and I cross what is the official starting line in Hopkinton and I burst into tears. I realized like, oh, I'm actually here. Everything was scary before. All the logistics created stress around the thing. And then I realized I'm in the Boston Marathon and had a wonderful race. It was an unforgettable experience. I enjoyed every minute of it, every minute. I'm registered for a half Iron triathlon that was supposed to be this past August. It'll be next August. And hopefully I will be on the start line of that and might launch that into hopefully a qualifying marathon a few months later.